Be me, 29 years old woman, sitting alone Friday night again, scrolling through Instagram, seeing happy couples, wondering how I became so alone. Let me tell you about feminism. Started in college around 19 years old, took women's studies class as elective. Professor was hardcore man, hater constantly. Filled my head with toxic ideas. Every man is potential rapist, obviously. Masculinity is toxic and dangerous always. Men only want one thing from women. Relationships are patriarchal oppression tools designed. Ate it all up like gospel. Became most insufferable person on campus. Constantly lecturing everyone about gender politics. Saw sexism in literally everything possible. Boyfriend at time was actually sweet. Brought me flowers because he cared. Told him flowers were patriarchy symbol. Women don't need male validation ever. He looked confused and hurt deeply. Tried to open doors for me politely. Screamed at him about internalized misogyny, capable of opening my own doors. Stopped doing nice things for me. Every gesture was somehow problematic, obviously. He broke up after 3 months, said I changed into a completely different person. Called me exhausting and impossible to please. I told him he couldn't handle. Strong, independent women like me, obviously. Posted on social about toxic masculinity. How he couldn't respect my awakening. Got hundreds of likes from women. Felt validated in my victim mentality. Next relationship was with Jake from work. Genuinely sweet guy who respected women. Worked at non-profit helping abuse survivors. You'd think I'd appreciate that kind. Nope, found problems with everything he did. Paid for dinner dates like gentlemen. Lectured him about financial gender dynamics. How paying reinforces traditional gender roles. Suggested we split everything 50-50. He agreed but seemed hurt by my aggressive reaction to his kindness. Complimented my appearance or new haircut. Told him I don't need validation. Beauty standards are a patriarchal oppression of women. He stopped complimenting me after that. Tried to be protective, walking alone. Told him I don't need any man, can take care of myself perfectly. Made him walk behind me always, to prove I was strong, independent. Poor guy started walking on eggshells, afraid everything would trigger angry lecture. About patriarchy and gender oppression constantly. Relationship lasted 6 miserable months total. He said he felt like dating. Ideology not actual human person with. I called him threatened by strong. Women like me who think independently. Posted more angry feminist content online. Got validation from my echo chamber. This pattern repeated for several years. Met good men who genuinely respected women. Attacked them for every masculine trait. Being tall was intimidating women through size. Opening jars was showing off strength. Working out was toxic masculinity performance. Paying bills was patriarchal financial control. Wanting to protect was misogynistic savior. Being handy was enforcing gender roles. Any act of service was condescending. Assumption that women couldn't do things. Drove away every single decent man who tried building something real with me. Replaced healthy relationships with angry communities. Spent hours reading feminist blogs daily. Reinforcing my victim mentality and hatred. Surrounded myself with other bitter women who blamed everything on patriarchal society. We fed each other's anger constantly, became more extreme and unreasonable over time. Started viewing everything through oppression lens. Male cashier smiled too long, obviously creepy. Guy held elevator was mansplaining politeness. Coworker offered help, assumed female incompetence. Man disagreed was mansplaining my opinion. Everything became evidence of male oppression. Lived in constant state of outrage. Exhausting way to go through daily life. Pushed away family members who questioned. Called dad internalized misogynist for suggesting. Maybe I was being too harsh. Stopped talking to male friends completely. Couldn't see them as anything but. Oppressors and enemies of women, always. Lost connection with brother who tried. Maintaining relationship despite my constant hostility. Even female friends started avoiding me. Tired of every conversation becoming political. Lecture about how terrible men are. How marriage is patriarchal institution designed to oppress and control women completely. How having children betrayed the feminist. caused by participating in traditional roles, became the angry feminist stereotype that people make jokes about on internet. Alone, bitter, and completely isolated from healthy relationships with any decent humans. Wasted my entire 20s being angry, at half population for existing male. Missed out on building meaningful connections, with good men who could have been genuine partners in happy, healthy, loving relationships built on mutual respect. Now I'm approaching 30 completely alone, watching former classmates get married happily, having children, and building beautiful lives, while I'm still single and bitter. Finally started questioning my extreme beliefs, when realized how miserable I had become over the past 10 years. Started seeing therapists who helped me understand how ideology became unhealthy obsession. Learned difference between healthy feminism and toxic man, hating that consume me. Real feminism is about equality and respect, not attacking every man for existing or viewing every gesture as oppression attempt or patriarchal control system. Slowly started deprogramming from extreme beliefs. Realized I drove away genuinely good men who would have loved and respected me for the person I was. Underneath the angry ideology consuming me, started apologizing to people I hurt. Brother forgave me, and we rebuilt. Some friends welcomed me back cautiously. Others had moved on permanently, understandably. Tried reaching out to my exes to apologize for how I treated them during my toxic feminist phase. Most didn't respond, which I understand. Jake replied and said he appreciated the apology, but had moved on. Married someone who appreciated his kindness. Now, I'm trying to rebuild my life, learning to appreciate good men again, recognizing kindness as kindness, not oppression, or some patriarchal control mechanism designed, working on becoming someone actually worth dating instead of angry, bitter person. But the damage is completely done. Years were wasted on toxic ideology. That promised empowerment but delivered only isolation and bitterness and complete loneliness. Sitting here alone, realizing I became everything I claimed to fight against. Bitter, angry person who judges others based on gender rather than character. My feminist phase didn't empower me. It destroyed every chance at happiness with genuinely good men who deserved so much better than the angry, bitter person I became during wasted years. Now I see happy couples everywhere, living the life I could have had if I hadn't let ideology poison my mind against half population. Feminism was supposed to liberate women. Instead, it became my personal prison, trapped me in cycle of anger, resentment, and complete social isolation from anyone who could have loved me. Wish I could go back and tell younger me that good men aren't the enemy of women everywhere. Kindness isn't oppression or patriarchal control. Love isn't conspiracy, but precious gift, to be treasured, not attacked, and systematically destroyed through toxic ideology and victim mentality that consumed my 20s. But it's way too late now. All the good ones moved on, found women who actually appreciated them, while I was busy fighting imaginary battles against decent men who only wanted to love me for who I was underneath all the anger. Spent years at feminist rallies screaming about how all men were evil, while good men walked away quietly. Found women who didn't attack them for being born with Y chromosome, women who saw their kindness as gift, not threat to independence, women who appreciated protection not as oppression, but as love and care. Missed out on marriage and children because I viewed traditional relationships as betrayal of my feminist principles completely. Now my biological clock is ticking, and I'm running out of time to find someone willing to build life with bitter, angry woman who spent decade attacking half the population. Therapist says I can still change, learn to appreciate good qualities in men instead of viewing everything through lens of oppression and patriarchal conspiracy. But damage to my reputation is permanent in my social circles where everyone knows me as the crazy feminist who drove away every boyfriend with lectures about toxic masculinity and constant accusations of hidden misogyny. Maybe there's still hope for me to find someone willing to overlook my past and see person I'm, becoming instead of angry ideologue I was, but honestly I'm not optimistic about. Chances of finding love at this, point in my life with history, of attacking men for existing while male,